He's humble.
Coach Walsh, without you, I'm not standing on this stage today.
He's lifted the Lombardi. He's earned the gold jacket. And now he's laser focused on a championship for the faithful. Here's 49ers GM and Hall of Famer John Lynch with Murph and Markus on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, quick turnaround. We just talked to John on Friday, and now we're talking to him on Tuesday because they got a game. But there was a game in between, and it was a game that surely pleased John. 38-13 win over the Chicago Bears. And as we say good morning, John, and we thank you for adjusting your schedule and coming on. All the listeners love hearing from you. We love talking to you. Is that you left us on Friday, and one of the last things you said was, you can't get your ass kicked 2 weeks in a row and not respond. So, John, first of all, good morning. And second of all, did they respond to your liking?
Yeah, I mean, two things. First of all, I loved that response. I really did. I was really proud of our team, how they came out, played with confidence, played with conviction. I thought we were sharp. I thought we were aggressive. I was really, really proud of our team. We were. It was tremendous leadership by Kyle, by our players. I think it was mentioned a couple of our players spoke at our team meeting, and I think that really set the tone. But collectively, as a team, we came out. I also want to apologize for anybody if kids were watching or listening. I think that was somewhat benign, but I do want to.
Oh, sure.
I got a little fired up.
Well, you're such a gentleman that you're apologizing. Have you heard the music they're listening to these days, John? All right. I think you're okay. Yeah. It's funny, John, because I was raised in a household. My dad didn't swear in our house. He just didn't. And so, like, every now and then my kids, one will slip through on a TV show or something because now, even like McAfee, right? That stuff comes flying out, and I say to the kids, oh, hey, and they're like, Dad, we've heard it all. All right?
I've been there myself, yeah.
So you saying you can't get your ass kicked, I think, is pretty darn low bar, pretty darn low on the scale. You're pretty good. But, yeah, and you guys did answer that way, and mostly offensively. And, we talk about, like, Brock Purdy, what he did in that game, and how Kyle seemed to be, I don't want to say for lack of a better, cooking, you know what I mean? More downfield balls. Actually, the stat was, I think, the most downfield passes that Brock had completed since week 8. Is that something that jumped out at you?
Yeah, I thought we were in sync. We were in tune. I just loved our mentality. I loved our mindset coming into that game. And, guys were ready to play. There's no doubt about it. And I think defensively as well. I mean, I know Caleb's been sacked a lot this year, but to get after him and have 7 sacks, Yetur had 3, I believe. Leonard Floyd had 2. Those guys were hunting. And I thought the secondary, having Hufanga back, he plays fast. And I think that is contagious. And I think that lifted us. And Malik doing his thing. Jair got in there as well. I thought our linebackers were running around. Our front was good. So all around, I thought a really solid effort by us.
And John, I wanted to circle back about your opening comments about the team leadership, and you mentioned the 2 speeches that both Deommodore Lenoir and Brock Purdy gave to the team on Saturday night. I'm curious how often this happens that Kyle Shanahan will ask players to speak to the team, and also what it means specifically that you had a 25-year-old and a 24-year-old address the team.
Yeah, I remember Kyle talking to me late on Saturday, just saying, man, I want to play with grit, and I want to have a couple guys talk who comes to mind, who are some of our gritty guys. And, Demo is he's one of those guys. And almost didn't matter what he said. Demo's just a guy that everybody respects and loves so much. But, yeah, it is somewhat rare that Kyle will have guys speak at it's not like it hasn't been done before. But at the team meeting portion on Saturday night over at the hotel, and Demo did a great job, and then Brock was unbelievable. And I think so much is put on the quarterback in terms of the amount of game plan learning each week. You don't want to throw another thing, but I don't think Brock had much warning, and he gave a tremendous message, kind of about what I think George alluded to in the media about playing with some desperation, and I think it really inspired our team, both those guys, and it's great Kyle does a tremendous job. Sometimes a changeup and having some of the guys address the team along with Kyle was tremendous. And I mean, words aren't going to make a difference, but I think the feeling and the passion with which they talked about what needed to happen, you felt like it was going to happen, and then it did.
Yeah, it just feels like you said, sometimes the words don't matter as much as sort of just the presence and the connection that they made with those guys. So obviously it worked. So John, I'll play a little word game with you. 6-7 feels like what? What does it feel like? 6-7.
Got a chance, and I think it'll be a lot better if we're 7-7. And we knew that, what was it, 2 games in 5 days, and so what an opportunity to do it at home. I do want to mention too the fans. I mean, sometimes you wonder, we've created a high standard and we've kind of let that down so far this year. But man, the fans came and they were ready, and I think we inspired the fans early with our play. But they were into that game, and that was really cool. And we're very appreciative. We're going to need it even more. The Rams are playing good ball. They tripped us up earlier this year, and we've got a great opportunity to get them back. And I learned long ago, Coach Dungy, he's such a wise man, and Coach Dungy used to always say, just don't worry about other people in an equation that when you need help. If you take care of your business, things tend to fall into place. And I remember last year, like with the 1 seed, everybody thought Philly had that on lock, and we just kept. We started with Philly, we kept just taking teams down, and all of a sudden things just kind of fell into place. So I think provided we do that, we're going to be all right. But that starts with the Rams, and that's where our focus is. And we got to have Levi's rocking Thursday night.
Yeah, John, it's actually interesting. I saw some footage going around on social media, a mic'd up moment with your Tur Gross Matos, where the camera captured him in the fourth quarter saying, "First playoff dub." So is that the mentality for the team moving forward over the last 4 games of the season, that it's win or go home at this point?
Yeah, we talked about that. This is playoff football for us because that's really where it's at in our mind. And I felt like the guys responded as such. I felt like they played, and that stadium had that type of feel. And we gotta continue that. And I thought we did a really good job of blocking out all the noise and really just focusing on one opponent, and that was the Bears. And now we move on to the Rams. Really good football team. Stafford, Stafford is such a really, such a special player. And then you throw Puka and Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams, a young defensive front. So they have a lot of challenges they present. I can't wait for Thursday night.
Yeah, they just scored 44 points. I mean, if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. And Nakua and Kupp are just ridiculous, and Stafford is truly looking like a Hall of Fame quarterback. So my question then, following up on Markus saying, playoff football, all that stuff, how realistic is it for you guys to be a playoff team with that running back depth chart? John, that's just unbelievable. Like, literally, we're talking about not just Christian McCaffrey. We lost Elijah Mitchell at the start of the season. Throw in Jordan Mason. Now, we don't know if Garendo can go. Let's say he can't because, it's a foot injury. It's pretty bad. John, honestly, we're looking up guys like Patrick Taylor, Keyshawn Vaughn, Israel Abanikanda. Is it realistic for you guys to be able to play at your best when you're that deep in the depth chart on running back?
Well, fortunately, we had a deep group there to start the year. It's not ideal. I think everybody can agree to that. But we saw what Garendo did last week, and Isaac has a chance this week. We'll see. He does have a foot sprain. He is pretty convicted that he really wants to give this a go, and we'll see where that goes. It's a quick turnaround, to say the least, on Thursday night. That's a challenge, but whoever's out there, we got to go. And these guys are good. They're NFL players, and great opportunity for them. Just like Garendo stepped up, maybe it's someone else's opportunity, and we've got to find a way.
Is there any one of those 3 guys whose story sort of like, Keyshawn Vaughn won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, they don't have a ton of reps, but is there any one of those guys whose story kind of grabs you, that gives you a reason why you guys, because you guys brought those guys into the building specifically for something.
Yeah, I would just tell you, Patrick Taylor was a guy we probably just got for depth this offseason to take into camp, but I think he really won everybody over with his professionalism, he's one of those guys that's like first guy in, last guy out, just a model of consistency. And he's a really good football player. He had played in a similar system in Green Bay. And so I think early in the year, we thought hard about putting him in a practice squad. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he ended up making our 53 because we didn't want to run the risk of losing him. So sometimes decisions like that pay off when a guy's still in your building. And then I still haven't learned his name, but Izzy. Izzy is the guy.
Here we go. Abanaconda.
Okay, Abanaconda.
There you go. Yeah, I learned it too.
He's an impressive dude, and his journey, has been difficult in that he was highly regarded coming into the league. It hasn't taken off, but we like his skill set a lot. So if it's his opportunity, along with Keyshawn, we call him Sneak Vaughn. These guys are NFL players, and we'll be okay, and we'll run our stuff, and we'll see where it shakes out.
John Lynch is the voice you hear this morning on the UMA guest line, kind enough to join us on a Tuesday morning ahead of the 49ers Thursday night matchup against the LA Rams. And John, we got to ask you about George Kittle. It feels like every week we can ask you about George Kittle, but this past weekend as a receiver, he became the third tight end in NFL history. And he joins Antonio Gate and Travis Kelce as the only tight ends with 500 catches and 7,000 yards in their first 8 seasons. Is it possible at age 31 that George Kittle is playing the best ball of his career?
Yeah, he looked so fast the other day. I mean, I think it was Jed who came in after the game, and on one of the catches, he thought it was Garindo, like he really did. And, but George is just playing really good ball, and he takes really good care of himself. And that's what happens when you take great care of yourself and you're mindful about your body and you're as talented as George is. You stack days, you stack years, really proud of the football George is playing. In a game like that where your back's up against the wall, you need your best players to rise to the occasion. And George certainly did that for us the other day.
He looks incredible. He really does. And conversely, Deebo Samuel's not having that year. And I know you guys don't want to get into the social media stuff, so I won't ask you about that. But I will ask you about his on-field production because it's down across the board. You can just go to his baseball card, as we say, the Pro Football Reference. So I'm wondering, only one touchdown, for example. There's a thing called success rate where it's like percentage of yards you gain towards first down, et cetera. That's way down, too. So what would you say to the fans about his production and or Deebo himself if you had to give him a pep talk?
Just keep going. I think Deebo has created such a high standard. The things he's done, the innovation, which we've created things for Deebo. I mean, that's part of the issue is that, we created so many unique things for Deebo that now if you watch Green Bay, Jaden Reed does a lot of those things. DJ Moore for the Bears does a lot of the Deebo package. And so I think people are becoming more familiar with it. Deebo's a really good football player. He's created such a high standard for himself that I think frustration mounts, but he's made so many plays for us. I think we got to give this guy some grace and bring him along because we need him the rest of the way. We're going to need him Thursday night. Deebo's a big part of this team, and we're all right. We can all learn from situations and a lot of different things in the world these days that you can get caught up in. But I think Deebo's in a good place from the way he's working, and we got a lot of football to be played, and he'll be a big part of our season moving forward.
John, we have seen a lot of production this season from Juwan Jennings, so much so that he'll be joining us today at 9 a.m. as our 49er Player of the Week. But just talk to us about the journey of Juwan from going to the practice squad to leading the team in targets, receptions, and first downs, and just a wide receiver that he's kind of evolved into.
I love everything he stands for. I love watching him play football, the way he competes, whether it be, going up for a 50-50 ball, the way he runs routes, the way he blocks. And, he frustrates other players on other teams, but there's nothing about him that is cheap. He just plays to the end of the whistle, through the whistle on each and every play. And I admire the way Juwan plays. I think it lifts our team, and I'm really proud of the young man. I remember his highlight tape coming out of Tennessee, and man, it was one of the coolest highlight tapes I'd ever seen. Some of the plays he made, some of the same stuff we see him doing here, he did at Tennessee. we got a lot of similarities in that we both went into college as quarterbacks, and then he went to play receiver, and I went to playing safety, and we talk about that a lot. And I just love his enthusiasm for life, and he's a fun guy to be around. He's a fun guy to watch play football. We're very fortunate to have him.
Well, having one of the best seasons of anybody on the team. Can you take us through the backstory of signing him in May? I mean, there was a chance you weren't gonna. Did that get dicey?
No, we were going to. It took some time to work out, but we're glad that we have him a part of us moving forward. He kind of embodies what we want a Niner to be, and he's really a good person too. And that's he got an exuberance for life, and he's a fun guy to be around, and he lifts our practice, and Jawan's a heck of a dude, so you guys will have fun talking to him.
That May signing of him is just turning out to be gigantic. Have him through the 2025 season for sure. And then finally, Ian Rappaport over the weekend reported that, you guys are committed to starting conversations with Brock Purdy, because there's, fans these days. So Sam Darnold throws however many touchdowns he threw over the weekend, something like 5 or something. I don't know. Bring him back. He's cheaper than Brock or whatever. I don't know. Everybody's got a thought. So this your response maybe from Ian's response or report that you guys are going to negotiate with Brock Purdy? Is that the plan going into January and February?
We don't talk about that kind of stuff. Right now we're focused on the Rams. Brock is, I just told you what I thought of the way he played this last week. I thought it was awesome. I thought his leadership was present and felt. He's our guy, and we love him, and we're focused on keeping our hopes alive. And there's a big one Thursday night at Levi's, and Brock's going to be a big part of leading us. So we're excited about that.
Another contract that could come up at the end of the season is Talanoa Hufunga's. And I know you just said you don't want to talk about contracts, but I did want to kind of refocus on his return to the field this past Sunday. Your thoughts, I know you mentioned it in your first answer, but also the pairing of him with Mustafa instead of having Jair Brown out there.
Well, I think they're all three good players, and it gives you a lot of comfort. There was, I think, an instance, Malik went out that first play of the second half. DeAndre Swift came through, and man, he put his helmet in Mustafa's chest, and I could tell that hurt. It doesn't feel good. I've been there, and he needed a little breather. And to bring Jair in, I think we got 3 really good safeties that you can rotate and play. I think Huff brings so much in terms of the speed with which he plays, but also the communication on the back end. I thought there were some subtleties to our game, the disguises and such. Huff he's played a lot of football, and so we're comfortable with all 3 of those guys and beyond. We have Gibson, who we brought back, who's played a lot of football in this league, played a lot of great football for us. So real deep group at safety, and it's just great to have more really good players back, and is a big lift to get Huff back.
And that finally leads to the last one is the player getting back, and we've been waiting. Dre Greenlaw, I don't know. Can he come back, John?
Oh, he certainly can, and we'll see if this week is the week. It's the one we've been kind of pointing to, and but we got to get to this. Today we'll get out there on the practice field. He'll move around, and we'll see where his comfort, where our comfort is, and. Want to be really smart. It's been a long haul back to, that's a terrible moment where I remember it vividly where what happened to Dre? Oh, he's down and he's worked his tail off. And so the fact that he's here and nearing that opportunity to get back on the field, and we all know when you see 57 on the field what he does for us. So that will be a huge lift if we get him. If not, we'll wait a week. And we'll have him right when he's out there. But, man, that would be cool.
Man, so that'd be really, really, that guy's been just gigantic. Last one is a non-Niner one. We didn't get your official comment on your new GM in Palo Alto, Andrew Luck.
Oh,
how about that? That's 2 GMs now, you and him. You guys are running the show.
I'm so excited, and for Andrew, for Stanford. I was really starting to worry about Stanford football and gosh, what happens to it? And sometimes when you're in a situation like that, you need something that's going to really shift momentum. I think it's a game changer. I really do. And I think it's a sign that the new president at Stanford, Jonathan Levin, is making a commitment to playing big time football at Stanford. And Andrew called me actually when we were in Buffalo and asked if he could pick my brain on some things. And I just told him like how excited I was for our program. I think it's a game changer. I think there's a tremendous alumni network that I think Andrew's going to wake up and really motivate to get behind the program. And I think being here in the Valley, there's so many opportunities. I'm really excited and about, I know there's a lot of the world of college football is changing, but I think the fact that they made that move tells me a lot that they're motivated and want to get this right. And I know Andrew's really excited, and it may take a little while. The program it's not where it once was, but he's committed to get it back. And I think there's nobody better for that job than him.
It's so exciting and unique. You know what it reminds me of, John, is Buster Posey taking over the Giants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Same kind of vibe, right?
We got to, excited. That's really cool.
You guys have a little GM. I like a GM round table. Andrew Luck, Buster Posey, John. I mean, you guys can have some good chats, man.
Dunleavy down there.
Yeah, some guys who are just kind of tough-minded dudes who played the game. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What Buster got Adames, right?
Yeah,
top shortstop out
that
there.
Was John. That was a big one because we feel like he struck before Soto signed. It was like one of those chess moves.
You know who was a little shout out to the other across the bay, I guess now up in Sacramento, but Katse is a good friend, and the Katse family was with us this week at the game, and he's an awesome guy, Mark, and they've lived in San Diego for years. Our kids went to school together, but Kotz was out and supporting us this last week. So
that's awesome, and he signed several. The A's left town and immediately signed a guy to the richest contract after Luis Severino. But I love the San Diego Mafia: the Steve Kerr, John Lynch, Mark Kotze. You guys look out for each other.
Yeah, we do.
I'll talk about 91X together. That's what you guys do. All right. Always, John, you're always great. You answer every question, and you guys got the big win. They responded to your foul language on the air Friday. Very well. Very well. So you made through this one clean. Rated G this time, John. So,
right.
Hey, I know Thursday you're going to be geeked up. It should be a really, really good game. And like you said, got a chance. So
that's right.
Thanks for the time, John. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, John.
We'll see you. Thanks, guys.
John Lynch on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.